Welcome back to another session on differential geometry. We will continue with our discussions on embedded manifolds on R3. Embedded manifolds on R3 part 2. In the last session, we have defined a spherical map. The spherical map is defined by a multivector constructed from k independent vectors tangent to a smooth orientable surface Mk. We have also seen what manifolds in R3 look like in local coordinates in terms of the spherical map. We have seen a theorem which gives an explicit description of the local geometry of embedded manifolds. The main result of the last session was the theorem of Gauss, which says that the curvature Km of M at the point M is equal to the determinant of ds of M. Now we will see few more theorems, more results on embedded manifolds. We have seen Gauss theorem in the last session. Now we will see theorem 3. Let MF be a compact oriented 2 manifold in R3. Then there exists M naught element of M such that K M naught is greater than 0. Proof. Consider intuitively any sphere with M inside. Shrink the sphere until it just touches M at some point M naught. Then the curvature of M at M naught is greater than the curvature of this sphere. Consider more precisely the function R2OF on M, where R is the distance from the origin in R3. Let M naught element of M be a point where R2OF assumes its maximum. By rotating about the origin in R3, if necessary, we may assume that f M naught is on the R3 axis, that is, that f of M naught is equal to 0 0 C for some C. Then R3OF also has a maximum at M naught, since R3OF at M naught is equal to ROF at M naught greater than or equal to ROF M greater than or equal to R3OF M for all M element of capital M. Hence, for V element of T M M naught, the inner product dFV dou by dou R3 is equal to dR3 dF of V, which is equal to dR3OF of V, which is equal to 0. That is, dF T M M naught is perpendicular to the R3 axis. We may assume that the orientation of dF T M M naught agrees with the orientation on the R1 R2 plane. Otherwise, a rotation through an angle of pi about the R1 axis will accomplish this. We may further assume by rotating about the R3 axis if necessary that dou by dou R1 and dou by dou R2 are eigenvectors of ds M naught. Then, since f M naught is equal to 0 0 C, the spatial coordinates are valid on the translate of f of m by 0 0 minus C. That is, there exists mu from u to m, where u is a subset of R2 such that f composite mu of u1 u2 is equal to u1 u2 C plus g of u1 u2. For some g from u to r with g of 0 0 is equal to 0 and dou g by dou R1 at 0 is equal to dou g by dou R2 at 0 is equal to 0, then since dou by dou R1 and dou by dou R2 are eigenvectors of ds M naught, ds M naught has matrix dou square g by dou R1 square 0, 0 dou square g by dou R2 square at 0. But R2 composite f composite mu has a maximum at 0 0. Hence, R2 composite f composite mu at u1 u2 is equal to u1 square plus u2 square plus c plus g u1 u2 the whole square. Then 0 greater than or equal to dou square by dou rj square R2 composite f composite mu at 0, which is equal to 2 plus 2 into dou g by dou rj the whole square plus 2 into c plus g into dou square g by dou rj square at 0, which is equal to 2 plus 2c dou square g by dou rj square at 0 for j is equal to 1 2. Thus, dou square g by dou r1 square at 0 is less than or equal to minus 1 by c and dou square g by dou r2 square at 0 is less than or equal to minus 1 by c. So that k of M naught is equal to the determinant of ds M naught, which is in turn equal to dou square g by dou r1 square into dou square g by dou r2 square at 0, which is greater than or equal to 1 by c square and that is greater than 0. Corollary. The torus S1 cross S1 with its Riemannian product structure cannot be embedded as a submanifold of R3. The proof is like this. Since the covering map from R2 to S1 cross S1 is a local isometry, S1 cross S1 has curvature identically 0. We will move on to next theorem. Let MF be a compact connected oriented 2 manifold in R3. Suppose the curvature K of M is never 0, then in fact K is greater than 0 everywhere. If furthermore M is simply connected, then the spherical map S from capital M to S2 is injective, surjective and has a smooth inverse, that is, then M and S2 are isomorphic as manifolds. Proof. The first statement is a consequence of the previous theorem. For the second statement, consider the map pi composite S mapping M into the projective plane P2, where pi from S2 to P2 is projection. We show that pi composite S is a covering map. First, since determinant ds is equal to k greater than 0, ds is everywhere non-singular, hence so is d pi composite ds, which is equal to pi composite S. By the inverse function theorem, pi composite S is locally 1 to 1 and is an open map. Moreover, pi composite S is onto. For if p element of P2, say p is equal to pi of p tilde, where p tilde is an element of S2, consider the plane in R3 perpendicular to p tilde. Moving this plane out in the direction of p tilde toward infinity and then back until it just touches M at M0. We find that S of M0 is equal to plus or minus p tilde, so that pi composite S M0 is equal to p. More precisely, let M0 element of capital M be such that the function M goes to the inner product Fm comma p tilde assumes its maximum at M0. Then p tilde is perpendicular to df T M M0, because for V element of T M M0, the inner product df V p tilde is equal to d of inner product f p tilde at V, which is equal to 0. Hence, S M0 is equal to plus or minus p tilde and pi composite S M0 is equal to p. Finally, since M is compact, pi composite S inverse p is finite for each p element of P2. It is closed in M, hence compact. On the other hand, each point in pi inverse p is open in the relative topology, since pi is locally 1 to 1. Hence, for U, a sufficiently small open set about P, pi composite S inverse U is a union of disjoint open sets, each mapped homeomorphically onto U by pi composite S. Thus, pi composite S is a covering map and M is a covering space of P2. But the only covering spaces of P2 are S2 and P2 itself. Since P2 is not orientable, M must be homeomorphic to S2 and small s must be a smooth homeomorphism with a smooth inverse. Parallel translation on submanifolds. Now we will move on to the next theorem. Let M1 F1 and M2 F2 be oriented 2 manifolds in R3. That is, suppose there exist curves alpha I from closed interval AB to Mi for I equal to 1 2 such that F1 composite alpha 1 is equal to F2 composite alpha 2, which is equal to alpha, and dF1 T M1 alpha 1 T is equal to dF2 T M2 alpha 2 T for all T element of closed interval AB. Then parallel translation along alpha is the same in both manifolds. If V1 is an element of T M1 alpha 1 A and V2 is an element of T M2 alpha 2 A, with dF1 of V1 is equal to dF2 of V2, then dF1, that is the parallel translate of V1 along alpha 1, is equal to dF2, which is the parallel translate of V2 along alpha 2. Proof. Let small si from Mi to S2 denote the spherical map for I equal to 1, 2, and let Si tilde from S of Mi to S of S2 denote the corresponding map on the circle bundles. Since df1 of t m1 alpha 1 t is equal to df2 t m2 alpha 2 t for all t element of closed interval a b, we have S1 composite alpha is equal to plus or minus S2 composite alpha. We may assume that S1 composite alpha is equal to plus S2 composite alpha, for otherwise we may reverse the orientation on M2 so that this is the case. Note that orientation reversal on M2 has the effect of changing the sign of the connection from on S of M2 and hence does not affect parallelism. From the proof of theorem 2, Si tilde star psi bar is equal to psi I, where psi I is the connection form on S mi. Let alpha 1 tilde from closed interval a b to S of mi denote the horizontal lift of alpha I through alpha I a comma vi. Then psi bar into d Si tilde composite alpha I tilde d by dt is equal to psi bar d Si tilde d alpha I tilde d by dt, which is equal to Si tilde star psi bar d alpha I tilde d by dt, which is equal to psi 1 d alpha I tilde d by dt, which is equal to 0, since alpha I tilde is horizontal. Hence, Si tilde composite alpha I tilde from closed interval a b to S of S2 for I equal to 1 comma 2 is the horizontal lift of S1 composite alpha 1 is equal to S2 composite alpha 2 through S1 tilde composite alpha 1 tilde of A is equal to S1 of alpha 1 A comma df1 of V1, which is equal to S2 of alpha 2 A df2 V2, which is equal to S2 tilde composite alpha 2 tilde of A. In particular, S1 tilde composite alpha 1 tilde is equal to S2 tilde composite alpha 2 tilde. Hence, if VIT denotes the parallel translate of Vi along alpha I to alpha I t, then alpha I tilde t is equal to alpha I t VIT for I equal to 1 2 and S1 alpha 1 t df1 V1 t is equal to S1 tilde alpha 1 tilde t, which is equal to S1 tilde composite alpha 1 tilde t, which is equal to S2 tilde composite alpha 2 tilde t, and that is equal to S2 of alpha 2 of t df2 V2 t. That is df1 V1 t is equal to df2 V2 t. Note that theorem 5 gives us a way of seeing geometrically how parallel translation behaves for submanifolds in R3. Let alpha from closed interval a b to m be a curve. Consider the family of tangent planes to f of m along the curve f composite alpha in R3. For T0 t element of closed interval a b, the intersection of the tangent plane at f composite alpha of T0 and the tangent plane at f composite alpha of t will generally be a line. The limit of this line as t goes to T0 will be a line through f composite alpha T0 in the plane df t m alpha T0. The collection of all these lines for T0 element of closed interval a b forms a surface D called a developable surface. It turns out that such a surface D is flat, that is k is equal to 0 and is tangent to f of m along f composite alpha in D. But since D is flat, it is locally isometric to a piece of the plane, that is, in a neighborhood of alpha, D can be rolled out on the plane where parallel translation is ordinary translation. In particular, parallel translation along a circle on a sphere in R3 is the same as parallel translation along that circle in the cone tangent to the sphere along that circle. But the cone can be rolled out on the plane where the parallel translation is ordinary translation. Then the cone can be rolled back around the sphere to find the parallel translate on the sphere. You can see this in figure 4. Theorem 6. Let M be an oriented connected 2 manifold and let f comma g from capital M to R3 be 2 isometric embeddings. Suppose that the second fundamental forms of MF and MG are the same. Then there exists a rigid motion, that is an isometry phi of R3 such that F is equal to phi composite G. We will now see the sketch of the proof. Choose a point m0 v0 element of S of m and a rigid motion phi carrying g m0 into F of m0, dg v0 into df v0 and dg t m m0 onto df t m m0. Let F1 is equal to F and F2 is equal to phi composite G. Then F1 of m0 is equal to F2 of m0 and df1 v0 is equal to df2 v0 and also df1 t mm0 is equal to df2 t mm0. Hence, S1 tilde m0 v0 is equal to S2 tilde m0 v0. Furthermore, because phi is an isometry, the second fundamental forms of mf1 and mf2 are equal. Note that as a result of formulas 1 and 2 in the proof of theorem 2, the fact that the second fundamental forms for mfi I equal to 1 2 are equal implies Si tilde from S of m to S of S2 has the following property: S1 tilde star psi bar is equal to S2 tilde star psi bar and S1 tilde star omega I bar is equal to S2 tilde star omega I bar for I equal to 1, 2. Note also that S of S2 can be identified with the space of 3 by 3 orthogonal matrices of determinant 1 for a point of S of S2 consists of a pair uv where u is a unit vector in R3 and v is a unit vector perpendicular to u. The matrix corresponding to uv is the one whose columns are u comma v and u cross v. Next is a lemma. Let alpha 1 comma alpha 2 be two curves from closed interval 0 1 to S of S2 such that alpha 1 star psi bar is equal to alpha 2 star psi bar and alpha 1 star omega I bar is equal to alpha 2 star omega I bar for I equal to 1, 2. Let beta be the curve beta t is equal to alpha 2 t inverse into alpha 1 t, where inverse is matrix inverse and the dot indicates matrix multiplication. Then beta star psi bar is equal to beta star omega I bar which is equal to 0. We leave the proof of this lemma to the student. It involves computing d beta in terms of d alpha 1 and d alpha 2. Next is a corollary to the lemma. If in addition alpha 1 of 0 is equal to alpha 2 of 0, then alpha 1 is equal to alpha 2. The proof is like this: since omega 1 bar, omega 2 bar and psi bar span the cotangent space at each point of S2, the lemma implies that d beta is identically 0, so that beta is a constant map. Since alpha 1 of 0 is equal to alpha 2 of 0, beta 0 is the identity matrix and therefore so is beta of t for all t element of closed interval 0 1. Hence, alpha 1 t is equal to alpha 2 t for all t element of closed interval 0 1. We are now in a position to show that f1 is equal to f2. Let gamma be a curve in S of m starting at m0 v0 and let alpha I is equal to Si tilde composite gamma. Then the curves alpha I satisfy the hypothesis of the lemma and alpha 1 of 0 is equal to alpha 2 of 0. So, we conclude from the corollary that alpha 1 is equal to alpha 2. In particular, S1 tilde of gamma t is equal to S2 tilde of gamma t for t element of closed interval 0 1. Since any point of S of m is reachable by a smooth curve starting at m0 v0, we have S1 tilde is equal to S2 tilde, that is, for every mv element of S of m, S1 m is equal to S2 m and df1 v is equal to df2 v. Consider the map where f1 minus f2 of m is equal to f1 m minus f2 m. Since df1 v minus df2 v is equal to 0 for any unit vector, we conclude d of f1 minus f2 is equal to 0, that is f1 is equal to f2 plus a constant. Since f1 of m0 is equal to f2 of m0, we have f1 is equal to f2. Before we conclude, let us summarize what we have learned in this session. We have seen k depends only on the Riemannian structure on M and not on the particular embedding f. By theorems, we have seen geometrically how parallel translation behaves for submanifolds in R3. Now, here are some problems for you to try out. First one, explain what a developable surface is. Second one, the map f from R1 to R2 given by f of t is equal to t square comma t cube is proper and injective, but is not an embedding. That is, its differential at x equal to t is not injective. Prove this statement. Third problem, show that RP2 cannot be embedded in R3 by using the Jordan-Broil separation theorem, which states that if Mn is a subset of Rn plus 1 is an embedded compact submanifold, then Rn plus 1 minus m has exactly two components A and B, and dou A is equal to m is equal to dou B. We just need to check that this allows us to define a continuous normal vector field along M. Fourth problem, find an example of a two-dimensional embedded submanifold of R3 that is not a level set of a single function. These are some books for further reading. First one is the Introduction to Differential Geometry by J. A. Thorpe, Springer Verlag. Second one is the Lecture Notes on Elementary Topology and Geometry by I. M. Singer and J. A. Thorpe, Springer Verlag 1967. Third one is Elementary Differential Geometry by B. O. Neal, Academic Press 1966. Fourth one, Lectures on Differential Geometry by S. Sternberg, Prentice Hall 1964. Fifth one, Differential and Riemannian Geometry by D. Lowitz, Academic Press 1965. Sixth one is Riemannian Geometry by S. Gallert, D. Hullin and J. Lafontaine, Springer Verlag 1987. Seventh one is Riemannian Geometry and Geometric Analysis 4th edition by Jürgen Jost, Springer. Thank you for watching this session. We will meet in another session with another topic. Till then, goodbye.